All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Legend of the Three Kingdoms. Yes, this is one of my custom D&D games set in my weird, messed up, homebrewed world. And the people below me are I yet again have just run out of funny ways to say that they are tired of my shit. So they are tired of my shit. Um, that being said, quick announcement. Today on my YouTube channel, it's youtube.com/TraderJody. Um, a new episode, a new collab episode of D&D Deep Dive went live, where my buddy Elias and I talk about barbarian subclasses and how to homebrew things for the barbarian. It was a really cool episode, and we talked about huggy barbarians. Because the Battle Rager barbarian has a thing where if you grapple someone, they take damage. So we decided to basically redesign the entire subclass to just be a hugging barbarian. All the other barbarians, I would like to rage, and the battle ranger just goes to cuddle. So, anyway, check that stuff out. It's pretty cool, and we had a lot of fun doing it. That being said, I think we should return to the legend of the Three Kingdoms. The party has had their first victory, liberating the town of Ilmorn from the unjust rule of the local mayor. The party should be in high hopes. However, they've discovered that while they thought the mayor was in control, his Major Domo seemed to be the real person pulling the strings. They had a conversation with some representation of the Major Domo, who then fled. But Ilmorn seems to have been liberated all the same. They discovered there was a device powered by the tokens of the three things they found. Destroying the device seems to have alleviated some of the oppressive suffering felt by the citizens of Ilmorn. After returning to the hideout that they have called home for the past few days, they discussed things with the vampire lords that were now in control of their faculties, and are now trying to decide where to go next. So, when we last left off, the three vampire lords had retreated back behind their privacy screen to get some rest. And the rest of you are probably at this point feeling that a rest would not be the worst idea you had ever heard. Is there anything you guys want to do before finally going to sleep?
I think the only thing that Rowan is wanting to wonder is, or wondering to ask about is if anyone has any idea about what the major Domo could be, because he mentioned that he was also like a general of the Dark Lord. He revealed himself because he made a comment about that. He also he seems to be really good at convincing people, but when he specifically talked to someone like Vala, he said like you magic people. So I guess Rowan's kind of like, what on earth is he?
Well, I mean, that's a big question. Uh, we know that if he's a general, it means he's channeling some of the power of the Dark Lord, which is why if we can kill him, it's just power that the Dark Lord has no access to. Yeah, if we can take out the general, we will him. But we've been counting one of the generals so far. Um, ask, Rowan, are you familiar with, so with the scoreboard? Um, with the scoreboard?
I guess because I'm sorry because I'm coming in late on the campaign. Like, in refer to familiar with the Lady of Darkness.
Are you familiar with, the source of the dark lady located in Corbo?
Specifically, he's asking if you're familiar with the Church of the Dark Lady in Scornmote, which is the only
Oh,
major church in all of
yeah, that's what I was referring
Crucitalia.
to. I was thinking like because before that's what Rowan knows of the Dark Lady and the stuff that's propagated about the Dark Lady,
Yeah,
but I don't think he knows about the other villages per se, right? Because
you
most of the people dwell, they're kind of like ensorcelled, enchanted
if
about staying in their own village. So I didn't know that.
kind of you would be aware of the existence of the Church of the Dark Lady. Anyone that
Okay,
would worship the Dark Lady would know about that church because it is literally the only church in all of Crucitalia that is not dedicated to the Dark Lord himself.
so
Like
we
it is.
are aware of the other villages and what
Yeah,
goes
you're
on there
you're
to a point.
you're aware that they exist, and you're aware of uh, kind of major aspects of them. Like Scornmote is built around the Church of the Dark Lady, so you know, like that's kind of the mecca of the Dark Lady
Mm, okay.
for Crucitalia. Ilmorn was known for uh, the uh, the wealth of its ruling class, like the obsolence. No, they're super rich. Like
Ilmorn, I thought
per.
Ilmorn was the monster village.
No, that's Meisenford.
Oh yeah,
That
because he's from. Oh yeah, that's right. He's from Meisenford,
mhm.
but we've been to the Ilmorn's where we are now. Yeah, okay.
Effectively, what people from other cities know is kind of the high end aspect, like how someone would pitch one of the cities. Like they had no idea, like you wouldn't have been aware that the High Inquisitor was a thing in Ilmorn and that they were constantly, trying to
So
fight.
who talks about the secret police?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone outside of Meisenford would have no idea that there was a creature that roamed around that killed people all the time. But they would know that Meisenford itself was a very self-sustaining city. They relied a lot on hunting and things like that. It's viewed as kind of a wilderness city.
But the reason for that is that no one talks about it is because we're surrounded by monsters.
And yeah, and because people don't, only traders are the only ones that ever actually, traders and tax collectors are the only ones that go between the cities. everyone else effectively thinks the rest of the cities are fine, and theirs is the only one that's really, really bad. Which makes
Because
it
everyone's suffering is unique.
which makes it even weirder that no one ever leaves. But that's just how everything works. So.
Okay.
So yes, you would be
So-
familiar. You would be familiar with the church.
More of.
Your understanding of the church in Scornmote itself would be it is a holy city. It is the people there are very pious. They're very devoted to the Dark Lady. Before leaving Meisenford, that would be something that you would have aspired to be. Would be like the priests and clerics of Scornmote. Those are the high tier people that you look up to.
But I probably wouldn't have now because now Roland's having.
Yeah, now you kind of
Technically, he's having
Yeah,
heretical
and-
thoughts about the Dark Lady.
yeah. Now at this point, I think it would be fair to say that everything you thought previously is kind of in a new light.
Yeah.
Because you realize not everything you thought was true. So
So I'd imagine when he was keeping his eyes down trying to find these yahoos, he was keeping his head down low, and he's like, "Oh, I should not talk about this." And so, as a question, I am aware of the church, but now because of certain things being brought to light and I'm experiencing, I really have been doing my best to try and avoid places like that.
Yeah, that probably could we just come in the reason that we just cover that the church. I mean, I don't know about the worship so much, but head of the church was a general of the Dark Wars, and that helped me to cover that danger. And how we did cover that if we kill one, we in the Dark Wars. So it see that the Dark Wars were using the general to corrupt the Dark Lady, but the same way it appears the basis of moments correcting the city.
And he's the reason why we can't reach her as well now.
But
Jody, I want to ask something about the Dark Lord since I'm coming into this late. Is he promoted as like fearless leader? Everyone fears him, but he also everyone admires him, or is it just like straight up everyone fears him? Period.
he is thought of as kind of an uber deity. He is above the gods. He created, like, you live on his whim. The reason the world exists is because he willed it into being. The reason you exist is because he willed you into being. So it's not so much an admiration or a fear as much as he's viewed almost as a force of nature, effectively a force of a primal force of creation almost and destruction all in one that has become personified. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So he's both feared and respected. I don't think anyone is super like you know, into him. Like, you know, there aren't girls with his poster above their bed or anything.
Well, I was
like
also
that.
wondering, like, how far, like, is he fearless leader, and there's the propaganda posters where he's like, no,
Not really. Again, he's been deified,
yeah,
and even because the deities are still there, and he's considered above them, to the point where worship of the deities is something that you effectively have to ask his permission. Are we allowed to do this? And it's one of the reasons why most other deities are not worshipped anywhere in Crucitalia, because he doesn't want them to be. And that is literally what people will tell you, and you go, well, why don't we ever say a prayer to the gentle healer? Because the Dark Lord doesn't want us to. It's how everyone views it.
okay.
So, yeah, the few people that have ever interacted with him are effectively his generals and the various vampires that actually live in the Kiki Castle. The regular populace has never interacted with him, has no desire to interact with him, because, you know, it'd be like going to have a conversation with a hurricane. You know, there's not a whole lot you're going to be able to do in that situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I guess the question is, are we going to try and hunt this Major Domo, or are we going for someone else?
I mean,
I,
he's one of the ones we have to kill.
yeah. I think we have at one point or another.
I would love to kill him.
Well, I mean,
Yes, I gathered that. Does anyone know where we should go, or is that something we should probably consider at first light?
I think it can wait till first light.
Very
I
good.
know I'm a little
can
pessimistic.
it be that good, but he's overrated. And he probably everything has maybe an overrated that are amazing. Given things. I don't know about
We wouldn't even know where to look for him is the problem.
We don't even know what he is. If he's even a corporeal form. The more I try to think about him, it's fuzzy. There's no real.
Yes, none of us seem to be able to recall him, even after we just
Clear.
had that encounter.
No, you kind of have to force it, don't you?
Yeah, the most I remember it was the state feature, but not yet.
I don't even remember what he talked about, what he looked like. It's hard enough to remember what we talked about.
Oh,
think-
then,
Oh no, sorry. Go ahead.
well, then are we all in agreement that it can wait?
Sorry.
Are we all in agreement that it can wait?
I think it can wait. We didn't even really fight him.
No,
So
we didn't.
if we go up against him, we're going to be going up against him in a weakened state. Not to mention the fact that we need to try to find him. I think we can wait. But I don't know what everybody else feels.
No, I think we'll have to. Like, it's not as if we know what to do right now, anyway.
Yeah.
With that, you guys can see the small fire in the kind of makeshift fireplace in this box has been reduced effectively to embers. Everyone else, the vampire lords, Lillian's father, is now asleep, and this kind of calm settles over the room itself. What would you guys like to do? Do you want to
Sleep.
Okay. So all of you kind of bed down and get a pretty decent night's sleep. Probably the best you've had in a little while.
Before we go to sleep,
Okay.
sorry,
This one?
I would like to take a brief moment as I'm preparing myself to sleep, and I will use sending to reach out to Leopold.
Okay.
Just kind of want to, hey, I don't know if you will get this or not, but we've taken a step to take out another one of the Dark Lord's generals. Hopefully, we'll get him tomorrow.
You feel
And
the spell take effect and go, and nothing. But the spell did work.
Okay.
So as you all fall asleep and get, again, you have a remarkably restful night's sleep. The entirety of the town itself feels lighter, feels less oppressive than last night. Except Vala. Vala, as you head off to sleep, kind of like everyone else, as you lie down, cover yourself up, and start to drift off, you feel lighter than you felt in a long time. And as you fade into unconsciousness, you kind of smile to yourself for just the briefest moment, just because it feels as if a massive weight has been lifted off your chest, and for just the tiniest moment you can kind of relax and go, wow, this is easier. And then as you shift into sleep, you immediately start to dream. You're immediately woken up by the sound of conflict. Looking around you, there's fire everywhere. But unlike the fire that you're used to controlling, compelling to do your work, this is different. It seems angry, vicious. The fire itself is not kind of the bright red fire you're used to dealing with. This is this angry yellow and orange color. It looks sick, like an infected wound, burning through the town. You can see people in front of you fighting with one another. Some of them are using weapons, and you'll watch as mortal blows are struck, and they keep fighting despite them. Some of them missing limbs. Others have large portions of their bodies just holes. Others have no weapons, and they're just diving at each other, doing whatever they can to hurt each other. And in the middle of all of it, you see the Major Domo, standing very calmly, looking directly at you. Look what you've done. You know,
What I've done.
It constantly impresses me just how good you are at ruining the lives of everyone you get near. It's fascinating, really. He starts walking towards you.
I will start walking towards him. That's right. Come closer. Let's see how fast I can ruin your life.
That attitude, so predictable, so easy to manipulate. You made my job
This isn't.
far too easy, and yet incredibly enjoyable.
This is your doing, not mine.
No.
You're the one pulling the strings, after all.
He looks around. You see him actually reach down, and he picks up fire. Do I look like someone who plays with fire? No. That's your hallmark, isn't it? See this, all of this? This is what you are. You see this fire here? And he brings it closer to you. As it comes closer, you're very familiar with fire. But the closer it gets, the worse you feel. The fire itself, the smoke that comes off of it is acidic. It burns your lungs, it sours your stomach. The light itself is painful. The more you see the light from the flames, the more your head starts to hurt. Your eyes start to ache, they water a little bit. This is the fire inside you, Vala.
No.
You see how sickly it is? How disgusting it is? This is the real you.
No. You're wrong. I don't have a light. Not my own. And I will reach and grab my my warlock pendant.
Okay.
With the crystal, and I will cast Flame Blade.
So as you reach for your pendant, there's nothing there. Are you missing something? Oh. You thought this was a dream. That you could just do whatever you wanted. Is that what? No. No, this is real. This is happening right now. And he gets closer and he puts his hand on your shoulder and squeezes. And you can feel like he has a heck of a grip, much, much stronger than he looks. And you feel your shoulder kind of pop a little bit as he puts it into an awkward position. Not dislocated or anything, but just enough that it's kind of rubbing, the cartilage is rubbing against itself. This is where I rule, and it's just as real as everything you know. wait to see you again.
Just name a time and a place, buddy.
And as you say that, you're back in the room. Argenta.
Oh, okay.
You are woken from your sleep kind of abruptly by hearing Vala kind of scream, "Just name a time and a place, buddy." And you see Vala standing in the middle of the room with a flaming scimitar in one hand.
I just have my hand on Fury, and I'm just like, was there something?
I'll release the flaming scimitar. That asshole got into my dream somehow.
Hmm.
And I will look down at my ring of mind shielding.
Mm-hmm.
I assume it's still there.
It's not on your hand.
Hmm.
But doing a very quick look, you see on the floor next to your sleeping mat is the ring. Just lying there like you had taken it off.
I'll pick it up. I must have taken it off last night. Forgot to put it back on. I was hoping to hear from Leopold.
All right.
Stupid of me.
Concerning, then maybe it'll lead us to him. Who knows?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to wake you up. You should get back to sleep.
It's fine.
I will check to make sure I still have my warlock pendant.
Yep, this is still there. Make me a perception check real quick.
Okay. I am so good at those. That's not it. Perception. So I got a 1 for a total of 12.
Still, 12 is pretty nice. You have a decent perception.
Yeah.
As you sit there and you kind of hold it, it does feel slightly warm to the touch, which is not an uncommon thing for your focus. Every so often, when you're channeling power through it, or a lot of other times, it'll kind of like warm itself as magical energy kind of reacts with it. But as you look at it, you can see, because it's remind me, it's a unicorn, right?
It's a piece of red quartz inside of like a bronze kind of locket.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. You see just at the very edges, right next to where the bronze fitting kind of fits around the jewel, you can see just the tiny bits, the tiniest little ring of yellow on the gem itself.
As I'll mention that to Argenta and kind of show her, and I'll tell her, in the dream the city was burning, but the flames didn't look right, and that he said that the sickened flames were from me. They were my flames.
Sounds like he's just trying to cause despair in you, but If your focus change, that is concerning. I don't know a lot about arcane though.
I know it's arcane bullshit, but this was given to me by Celeste, and she's here somewhere. She used, I think, the last of her power to protect Commander. She's out there somewhere, and if the Major Domo finds her, if the Dark Lord finds her before we can, maybe that's why this is happening.
Then we just have to find her. Maybe it'll lead us to a general, or the one we know.
Well, yeah, I think I need to get back to sleep. I don't know about you. So Vala will go over to the fire and stoke it a little bit more.
Okay.
Make sure the embers are nice and bright.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will attempt to use one of my packed or third level packed spell slots to cast Sending again.
Okay.
And this time tell the Major Domo, name the time and place, asshole.
Okay. Make me a concentration check.
Oh, you motherfucker. 10.
10 is enough. Barely, but concentration check, your standard is going to be 10. As you are focusing on this as a spell, you kind of clutch your focus, and as you try and kind of picture who it is you're trying to send to, you notice your hand is trembling, and you don't know why. And as you keep trying to focus on this person to send this message, you're just having a really, really hard time focusing on anything, tapping into your arcane reserves. Just nothing seems to be working. And after trying for a solid minute and a half, you eventually get the spell to go off, but it's a struggle the entire time, and you do get this spell off, and you get no response. The spell works, you know for a fact that it worked, but you get no response.
Fucker. And then I'll just go lie down and stare at the flames and go to sleep.
Right before you could go to sleep, you watch as the tiny little kind of mini flames that are dancing around the embers for a split second turn into that sickly yellow color, and then you're asleep again. You all wake up then the next morning. Other than Vala, you feel remarkably refreshed. Again, one of the best sleeps you've had in a while here. Vala, you're refreshed as normal, but don't quite feel the up that everyone else does.
Now, what is all these things we ever figure out how many more hit points I got back?
So yeah, you posted in the chat last time. So basically for each 2 things that you reunite with a token, you'll get, I think it's 10 hit points back.
Alright,
So because you did 3, it'll just be 10 hit points.
Alright. Will it be 4 total?
So when this first happened, there's 13 total of the vampire lords, and you had saved 1. So the remaining 12 for each 2, you get back 10 hit points. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So theoretically, if you find 1 more, you'll get another 10 hit points.
Alright, I get 10 now.
Mhm.
Alright.
So just to clarify, because I always want to check in on this. So long rest.
Yep, long rest.
Okay. And second question is, I'm gonna bug you about this every time, Jody. Was Relwyn able to cook? Because he would have done that when he gets up.
Right when you get up, no, because there's no food to cook. But there's nothing that would stop you shortly after you guys get up and are able to leave this room from cooking. So, does that make sense? So, yes, but not in this room. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, when we get up, it was like, because I obviously had to spend time cooking. I didn't know if we were stocked up at all in this location or...
Yeah, effectively in this particular room, there's no food to cook, nor is there really a good place to cook. There's a small fire in one of the walls. There's a very, very poorly made chimney.
Okay.
But as soon as you guys get up and actually leave this room, there's no reason why you can't cook something for them. So
okay.
everyone can get the benefit of it. I'm just saying it didn't happen in this room. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I was just wondering if in the course of the time of getting up for the day and preparing his various stuff, he also would have been able, at some point, be able to cook for the group.
Yeah.
Okay. And I believe it's Lillian's father still with us?
When you guys will wake up, the vampire lords are gone. Lillian's father is still there.
Okay, so he'll include them again when he cooks. And everyone will get whatever the breakfast. I think it makes sense because I don't know if we have access to like accoutrement of like eggs, bacon, or whatever. But at bare minimum, I think he could make like a porridge, hearty filling, something along those lines, maybe.
Due to the fact that the aristocracy has been ousted, you have access to any ingredients you want. They have been liberated.
Oh, check this out! I got like everything.
Yes, the aristocracy. Other than the governor's manor, had literally nothing in it. But all the other really nice places all had very nice food, and you have been given access to it. So.
Okay, so you're all having omelets.
I imagine somewhere there's like jars of preserves that say Vala special label on it. Or Vala special reserve.
Technically, yes, but they would have been from other people's houses because your house got burnt to the ground when you guys were leaving.
Yeah,
you set it on fire.
I'm sure mine had been previously liberated.
Well, and I mean, anyone that has preserves, you give them to your friends. I mean, that's half the fun of making jam or give them out to your friends.
That's someone who actually a yearly thing. I actually give sand plum jelly to people.
Oh, that sounds good.
And ironically, it had a smoky flavor to it, even before the house was burnt down.
Oh no!
Okay. So everyone who partakes will get 5 temporary hit points.
My dad used to make jalapeno jelly every year. That was good. So,
jalapeno jelly on top with cream cheese, with just have it with crackers. It's actually very good.
I actually I used it as a glaze for a pork roast I made once. I just kind of reduced it down and served it over a pork loin roast that I marinated in white wine for like a day. Turned out really good. Anyway, enough about food.
This is gonna happen every time Roland cooks. All right, because I would like the idea of imagine food so good it actually gives you hit points.
So as you guys are all getting out and you come into Ilmorn itself, again, all of you can kind of feel this lightness from the town. You can see, even you, Vala, who lived here for quite some time, you're seeing things that you've never seen before. The sun seems slightly brighter than it has been. There's people smiling, despite what happened last night. Like this doesn't feel like the Ilmorn you've known.
I will mention before leaving, I used disguise self on myself.
Okay.
To alter my appearance.
Okay. So yeah, you can see people are starting to rebuild. You actually recognize a few of the aristocracy in the crowd, actually helping out, and which again seems bizarre to you because the city was kind of the rich versus the poor, and the poor despised the aristocracy. The aristocracy hated them just as much, and yet they're side by side. You can see some of the lower class people walking around in fine linens and things like that, and the aristocracy wearing a few. There's no more than about half a dozen that you will recognize, but a few of them wearing more kind of peasant clothes, and you see one in particular, a gentleman that was the next kind of mansion over from you. He was an elven gentleman named Kodiar. And he's actually serving food in a food line as people are kind of lining up to get an early morning meal. And it doesn't look like they ate quite as well as you guys did, but you can see it's like this kind of pretty decent, hearty breakfast stew, and there's these really kind of big, fluffy biscuits with it, and some honey and preserves to put on the biscuits. So, like the whole city itself, in your wildest dreams, you would have never imagined it like this.
I will turn to the others and say, well, it certainly appears as though the mayor's influence is gone, or the Major Domo's influence is gone.
Considering the fur these people were ripped up into last night.
Yeah.
It almost feels like you can breathe easier here. A little bit, at least. Is that all his influence?
Yeah, and it might be. I mean, like I said, they channel a Dark Lord's power.
Yes. But now where is his influence now? Why did he leave? Why did he abandon this place? Or was all of that from the device in his office?
I mean, the last time we freed one of those, they fell out of favor of the Dark Lord, didn't they?
Yes. And
well, that was it for the general. That was a noble that had been locked up.
yes. Yeah, you're right. You really don't know how the Dark Lord feels about his general right now. I assume he can't be pleased.
No.
You know, we could just ask the
Not-
Dark Lord where the general is and see what he says.
I mean, possibly if he's mad.
I mean, do you feel like having that conversation?
Well, I mean, last time we talked with him, it resulted in one of our deaths.
We've got. I mean, that gives us at least 3 more tries.
Molly just kind of looks out the corner of her eye at oh, I'm sorry, I forgot the new guy's name.
Rowan?
Rowan's. Yeah, Rowan. It just kind of looks out the corner of her eye at Rowan and see how he takes that.
I think Roland is just like he's processing new stuff every day, and his default is just like, okay, so I just heard that. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, tomatoes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Rowan. It's
As you guys are standing there, you see a younger kid, probably in his teens, come up with 2 bowls. And he goes, have you had your breakfast yet? And he just kind of holds them out to you guys.
yes, we have. Thank you very much.
We've just eaten. Thank you. Here, you take this. And just like he gave me the tomato we just found, and just like
He just kind of looks at it, looks at you.
you slice it up. You have it. It's good.
Thank you. Well, we've got a lot of reconstruction to do today, so if you guys want to meet with, and he goes and he just kind of points over to a taller, semi-older gentleman, probably in his 40s. You can see flecks of gray starting to come through his auburn beard. If you just go over to Philip over there, he can give you your assignments for the day. And then somebody else comes over. That's them. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Carry on. And he just walks.
Oh, it's
over.
okay. Oh, it's okay. You don't.
Paula attempts to separate herself from the group a little bit in distance and observes what everybody's reaction is to what the woman just said.
You can see like people kind of keep looking at the group itself, but you don't sense any animosity from them. More like kind of a celebrity view where people are stealing glances and hoping that you don't notice, and they're kind of smiling into the talking amongst themselves. Suddenly you see the head of the resistance coming over. So, despite being a load of bollocks, it seems like you guys actually got something good done. So, I guess I got a thank you for that. This is where you say you're welcome.
Oh, you said you guess you had to thank us. I was and thinking
Yeah.
actually.
All right. Thank you for saving a city. Even though I think my plan would have worked fine, I guess yours worked too.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all friends.
Alright, so, we're trying to kind of figure out how we're going to run this city without the Dark Lord, but, what we've been thinking is we're going to plug up that hole that you guys came through in the wall, and we're going to close the gates, because tax collectors are due in about a month. So, we figure it'd be best if they don't come in.
Yeah. I think that someone is good friends. And I to make friends. What do you guys think?
Well, I guess if we're going to be pursuing a Dark General, I cannot believe I just said that. I guess we're going to be leaving the city. I guess we'll want to leave the city before they seal it up. Question is, I don't know where we're going to go.
Another city. Every city has a general.
That probably too bad. But what do you think is there for you to seal the wall?
Oh, what does Rowan think?
Well, what does everyone think?
Well, Rowan isn't like, I mean, sealing the wall. I mean, walls for defense, and considering the circumstances, it makes sense that they would want to do that. Although I was concerned about if the general was able to leave so easily. And he doesn't say this out loud to be overheard, but it's like I'm not sure what would prevent him from returning.
Yeah.
While this is happening, Vala has kind of circled around next to the resistance leader,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like, where's the whatever happened to the High Inquisitor? As she's like, her disguised self is of an older woman.
Okay. Make me a deception check.
Deception. Oh, I wish this was performance. Well, I only got a 14.
14. Okay. Then I have to actually roll. See, I've gotten to the point, especially with bards, that I wait to roll until after they give me, because if they get like a 47, there's no reason for me to roll. All right.
Ooh.
So as you say that, you hear him go, "Hi, that's a good. Wait a minute," and he kind of reaches and goes through the illusion that is your false face to your real face. He's like, "Hi, everyone!" He kind of grabs you by the collar and brings you forward. "The High Inquisitor is here, and
Vala
she'd
assumes
like
dodge.
to know." What'd you say?
Vala assumes dodge.
Okay. And she'd like to know what we all think about her. You can see the whole town gets quiet.
Even Rowan is thinking, "What an asshole!"
Finally, Philip, the gentleman you were told to go to for your assignment, walks forward. "What you did was wrong. You hurt a fair amount of us. Horrible, horrible ways. And you see a tear start to come down his. But last night, I had the face of me beloved in me hands. I was about ready to try and crush her own skull. We all did things that we aren't happy about, that we aren't proud of. And someday, I think you should have to answer for your crimes. We've got enough work right now, but we don't need to try you for crimes that weren't all your fault." You've got to live with what you did. And that might just be punishment enough. And he kind of, because he's a tall dude, leans down. "But I know." And he says it just loud enough for only Vala to hear this part. "But I know I know the feeling of having the urge to do something so horrible and disgusting and feeling like it's your own damn idea. And he gets up and walks off.
What is my father doing down there? He's still back in the...
He would have come out with you guys, and with his kind of familiarity with, I guess, getting things done and being able to notice what is the most important thing to focus on, just from his experience in espionage and everything. He immediately went to Philip first, and then you can see he's kind of directing other people. So he, from what you can tell, he seems to be keen on trying to get Ilmorn rebuilt.
I will turn to the rebel leader and tell him about the secret tunnels, both the ones out of my old mansion, although I don't know if those exited the city or not.
There were exits to the city connected to them, so.
Right, but none of them led outside the city walls.
The river that you used for transport did actually lead outside the city walls. When you guys escaped, you went outside the city and then came back around to come back in.
Got it. So I'll make sure he knows about that and how to block that up. And I'll mention that I had been working on that sonic alarm system, and I really should have told the group about that. But oh well. And then I will mention that there is an escape tunnel out of the mayor's mansion that we should probably check out.
We'll definitely look into that. I want people showing up it ain't supposed to be here unless they've got an appointment.
Don't be too surprised by the state of the inside when you get in there. It's not as ostentatious as you would think it would be. It's rather run down. Possibly some areas are dilapidated even.
And there may be some hidden compartment. I know we came across one of them where we were in there may be more.
Will do. And with that, he kind of saunters off, trying to look more important than he actually is.
Before you go, have you decided who the new leader of this town will be?
We've been talking
At
about
least for
it. We don't think we need a leader as such. We're thinking we have like a council, a bunch of different people. Because the whole like leader thing, like the mayor was a leader, and he did some real bad things. So we're thinking, give one person all the power, bad things happen.
Yeah.
Spread it out, and when the bad things happen, because of course they're going to happen, we can mitigate it, right?
Oliver just looks at him and goes, "Wow, I was completely wrong about you."
You know, you're
Well
not
done.
the first person who's ever said that. In fact, most people I meet tend to say that eventually. I'm starting to take it personally. Like, do I
No, you
just
should-
look like a moron?
No, but you should keep letting people underestimate you. It'll make it easier for you to come out on top.
I'll remember that. Anything you guys else you guys wanted to do? Because at this point, the town is kind of people are finishing up their breakfast and they're starting to kind of disperse to get to the rebuilding, get to getting the town shorn up.
I'll kind of look to the others, and I don't know if we want to try that secret exit and see if maybe that's a thing this Major Domo could have gone through.
I mean, that might be a bit weird right now.
Trying to track him down, that wouldn't be such a bad thing. Although I would probably advise, if he is a general in any sense, might suspect he might also booby trap his retreat.
I mean, that's entirely possible. Do I know where the exit comes out or no? I just have a rough idea of where it exits.
You don't know the specific location. You know a rough area of where you think it should be. But you if you were going to look for the exit, like from the outside, you would have to spend a fair amount of time physically looking for it. You don't know the exact location.
So it's either go very carefully through a dark tunnel or spend days trying to comb the forest or comb that area for where it might be.
I will say you've got a good enough idea of where it should be that it wouldn't take you more than a day to find it.
What do you guys think?
Well, if anyone's concerned about darkness, he just casts light on his mace for a split second. It's like either option, out inside or outside.
Yeah.
He's a witch! Burn him!
Follow up prepares fire. I mean, I appreciate the light as much as anyone else. It's not the darkness of the tunnel that worries me, Rowan. It's the
What's in the
arcane
darkness?
bullshit traps.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Worry us.
Crap magic.
Trap magic. Goddamn trap magic.
Well, just as a point of reference, if I can cast detect magic if that's also a magical concern we have to worry about, and if someone's able to look out for the more mundane side.
I mean, Argento, Lillian, what are your thoughts?
I mean, none of us are quite good at traps, are we?
I failed my trap magic tests in Bard College, so it was like a 7 o'clock in the morning class. I don't know why anybody thought that was a good idea.
Well, it weeds out the people who are dedicated.
Being some of my experience, but my coming in the firefighting trap.
Let's go through the tunnels then.
As you guys start to head back up to the Mayor's Member Mansion.
Before we go, I would have gotten to see my father.
Speaking of that, your father actually comes to find you as you guys start to go. He goes, hi. And he's still really, really awkward every time he says to speak with you. So the Three Lords they left early this morning to the
uh,
safe house you described. I'm going to be joining them. I thought I would help out here
oh,
for maybe a day or two, but
yeah, they figured it out.
we're going to be doing research. They have a natural ability to blend in and convince people to speak to them. So we're thinking we might be able to provide you with more information.
Uh,
And I felt I don't trust them.
no, I was for a minute for the day to throw up.
So I figured if I was there waiting for them, especially any kind of gestures to the blood hunter that you guys have been dealing with, if I have someone that specializes in hunting the undead, should be able to keep them in line.
Yeah,
You see, like, he keeps kind of pussyfooting around something, and I mean, it's obvious to you, and he finally kind of
yeah, oh,
just don't get hurt. Right? I came to an entire different plane of existence. Keep you safe. You'll make me look like a fool back home if you wind up dead.
well, we've already been in one.
Just be careful, okay?
Yeah, you two, I think you might not trust them. Mean, we know what they can be like, but I think it'd be better to be alone that right now. Every for the time being.
You've got a lot of your mother in you. You know that she was very wise as well. Anyway, I have work to get done, and then a decently long journey ahead of me. So
Yeah. And maybe over the next couple of days you can try to work it out really well. Yeah, I think they can use a different present.
perhaps. Anyway, and he kind of shuffles off.
I need to know I
Sorry, I didn't catch that last part.
any kind of obviously to the way I'll grab him and
Oh.
hang him.
You see he kind of stiffens for just a second and then kind of leans into it, brushes your hair back a little bit.
And okay, I know you said you don't know if Bob is alive, you and what, but if I can find it all, do everything I can.
I know you will. And well, if if you're looking for her, then her chances have just increased exponentially. Anyway, let me
Yeah.
readjust himself and kicking heads off.
Yeah. It's so bad.
So, as you all head back up to the manor itself, the manor, it doesn't seem possible, but it somehow seems even more dilapidated when you return than it was the last time you were here. Just everything about it seems old and decrepit, like no one's been in here for a couple centuries. And as you go back to the last place you saw the Major de Domo, in the library, because that's where it's supposed to be, that is unfortunately where we're going to end it for tonight. As always, if you enjoyed this, feel free to check out my YouTube channel. I do upload all these videos to my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/TraderJody. So if you missed any of the episode, you can watch it all right there. Otherwise, again, that is all for me today, and I'll see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.
Bye.